You hear a lot of people say this, and I totally agree with it. They say fail fast, and it's so true. But it also ties into the procrastination conversation. What is procrastination? Procrastination is nothing more than the delay of the gifts that God is ready to present us with. And we're saying, no, we're not ready for those. How about tomorrow? Because when you're on your path, you're doing what you need to do, you tend to be in alignment and the gifts come abundantly. So that's why sometimes we say, hey, fail fast, because if you started the project last Monday, you would have found out that the piece that is missing takes a week to come in the mail, and now your whole project's been pushed back a week, you can't even start. But if you started on Monday, you knew, oh, I'm missing this piece, so it'll be here next Monday, and now you can begin working on your project. Fail fast ties into procrastination very quickly. Also, you have a lot of people that are afraid to fail. They're afraid to make mistakes. But you have to make mistakes. You have to fail. That's the only way you learn. That's the only way you gain experience. So I want people to fail. I want people to mess up. Don't be afraid of messing up. A lot of people want perfection straight out the gate. You know, you start a podcast or a show, and the first one, they want it to be perfect straight out the gate. That's not possible. Just go. Done is better than perfect. Fail fast. What's up, people? Welcome. Welcome to all of my first-time users, and welcome back to my faithful users. I'm talking like a big tech company. I'm sorry, I've been in tech way too long, and everybody's a user to us. Supporters, subscribers, fans, whatever it is they call people these days. My wonderful Hoteps. And for those not familiar with me, I am
that Hotep Jesus dude. That Hotep Jesus dude. That Hotep Jesus. That Hotep Jesus dude.
Welcome back. We got a lot to discuss. Usually, my presentations are about 20 to 30 minutes, but today's going to be a long one. So you're going to have to stick in there with me, hang in there. We got a lot to discuss. This is definitely going to be over an hour-long presentation, so buckle your boots. We got a lot to go over, and I'm making this video. The reason why I'm making today's video is because I want to document this for my normie friends, for my friends who think Trump's, orange man bad and Democrats good, or even a viable option for us in our future. So I just want to document this so I don't have to explain things to them anymore. I can just send them a link to this video. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and shout out our sponsor, Syscoin. Syscoin has been our faithful sponsor for months now. And the other day I told you I took a position on Syscoin. I put my own money in the game. And let's take a look. So here we have the Syscoin. This is the 5-day chart. Hold on a second. Let me get this up on your screen here in a proper manner. And you see the pump. Do you see the pump? Hotep's been told you. This is a few days ago. I forget when it was. Let me just make sure. Okay, it's the 5-day chart. And this thing pumped. It hit a high of 18, 19 cents or something like that. What is this? 18 cents? It's dipping back down now a little bit to 16, but you see the pump. You see the pump. There's life in this thing. Wonderful, wonderful life. Shout out to Syscoin. This might sound a bit counterintuitive, but I kind of want it to come back down. I think I told people about this somewhere in here in the 13-cent range. I took a position. Yeah, I want it to come back down to 13 so I can get some more. But even at the 16-cent price, this is still, I believe, a good buy-in point. This is just a great position to take. Again, this is not financial advice. This is just my personal opinion. I'm just sharing with you exactly the type of moves I'm making in the crypto world. And yeah, so make sure you guys check out Syscoin, $Sys, not to be confused with cisgendered. Although I am cisgendered. So make sure you check out the Ciscoin team, building wonderful, great products with high security, using merge mining with Bitcoin, and also smart contracts using Ethereum. I'm still getting educated on some of this stuff to become a little bit crypto smarter. But anyway, let's hop right into our featured presentation today. Our beloved president, or our Emperor Biden, has put together a speech, and this speech was called "Soul of the Nation." What? Soul of the nation? I just don't think this administration has any soul. I think the soul has been completely sucked out of these people by some demonic beings. So we're going to go ahead and put this up on your screen, and we're going to go through line by line the lying of this dictatorship they call the Biden administration. And, maybe it's not lying. Maybe it's just misleading, whatever you want to call it. So let me go ahead and put this up on your screen. Let's get this positioned nice and centered for you. And then we're just going to walk you through this debacle of a means to mislead the public. Classic, what do you call it? This is classic Marxist propaganda. As you know, these peoples are master propagandists. And there's different types of propaganda. Obviously, there's good propaganda and there's propaganda that's bad, and all of that is subjective compared to where you lie on the political spectrum. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into some of the remarks here from Emperor Biden.
My fellow Americans, please.
Yeah, he had to clear his voice real early right there. You could hear it, real groggy, and he must have just woke him up.
Please, if you have a seat, take it. I speak to you tonight from sacred ground in America, Independence Hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is where America made its Declaration of Independence to the world more than 2 centuries ago, with an idea unique among nations.
If you'd like to make a comment, ask a question, go ahead and super chat. Super chats are reinvested back into the platform and other things for Hotep Nation. So you can go ahead and super chat. I'll answer questions, respond to comments at the end of the presentation. I tend not to watch chat too much, but feel free to chat amongst yourselves. We have mods in here to take care of the trolls. Also, if you'd like to support directly, $ Hotep Jesus on Cash App.
In America, we're all created equal. This is where the United States Constitution was written.
There is no such thing as being created equal. Everyone is not equal. There's no such thing as equality.
And debated. This is where we set in motion the most extraordinary experiment of self-government.
Hold on one second. Let me just, I want to kill some background noise here. I'll be right back in exactly 20 seconds. My apologies. Let's get back to the business.
The world has ever known. With 3 simple words: we the people. We the people. These 2 documents and the ideas they embody, equality and democracy, are.
One thing I want you to do is I want you to count how many times they use the word democracy. I know Charlie Kirk put out a tweet counting the different words he's used, but I think the word he used most in his speech was democracy. I'm actually going to download the transcript and then use technology to count how many times he's used the word democracy. If you have not watched my previous video, please go ahead and check that out. I did a video a few days ago, or yesterday, or the day before yesterday, right here, dark MAGA threat. Why isn't this thumbnail updated? What? Anyway, go to this dark MAGA threat video here on my channel. You'll see it. But that thumbnail shouldn't be there. Why is that there? See, YouTube likes to play games with my streams. No, damn well that ain't the thumbnail. Anyway, let's get back to Emperor Biden.
Are the rock upon which this nation is built.
But yeah, you got to watch that video, because that video talks about democracy, and we just talk about why democracy is a bad thing and it's a complete evil and only leads to more bloodshed than any other type of government, rivaled only by probably communism.
They're how we became the greatest,
specifically Leninism and Stalinism,
nation on earth. They're why, for more than 2 centuries, America has been a beacon to the world. But as I stand here tonight, equality and democracy are under assault.
Democracy. Pay attention to how many times he uses the term democracy. He says democracy is under assault, and he's absolutely right. In order to understand why he's absolutely right that democracy is under assault, you have to watch my video, Dark MAGA Threat.
We do ourselves no favor to pretend otherwise. So tonight, I've come to this place where it all began to speak as plainly as I can to the nation about the threats we face.
Shout out to Renee Vogel. He just sent me a $10 super chat. Appreciate you, bro.
About the power we have in our own hands to meet these threats, and about the incredible future that lies in front of us if only we choose it. We must never forget, we the people are the true heirs of the American experiment that began more than 2 centuries ago. We the people have burning inside of each of us the flame of liberty that was lit here at Independence Hall. A flame that lit our way through abolition.
So in regards to abolition, to understand why the slaves were free, you would have to get this wonderful book written by Brian Sharp. It's called The Patriot Report, Unmasking the Conspiracy of Money and War. If you have not read this, you probably believe a lie about abolition. But if abolition doesn't mention the word Russia, then you don't know why slavery was abolished in America. If the term Russia, if Russia is not brought up in the conversation when it comes to the abolition of slavery in the United States of America, go get yourself a copy of this book and get educated as to why the slaves are freed in America, because you probably believe a lie, or you're just getting half truth.
The Civil War, suffrage, the Great Depression, world wars, civil rights.
He got the nerve to bring up the Great Depression like we're not in the midst of one right now.
That sacred flame still burns. Now in our time,
I think Obama wrote this speech.
As we build an America that is more prosperous, free and just. That is the
free and just
work of my presidency, a mission I believe in with my whole soul. But first, we must be honest with each other and with ourselves. Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal.
You're absolutely right. There's a lot of blue-haired gender talk that's not normal. It's not normal. You're absolutely right, Biden.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
What? Yo, imagine you're president of the United States and we haven't heard from you in a significant speech in a while, and somebody commissions you to attack Donald Trump and the MAGA crowd. That's what this is. This was a hit piece on Donald Trump and the MAGA crowd. This is absolutely embarrassing for the Democrats, for the Biden administration, that they have to do this. This has to be unprecedented.
Representing extremism.
Extremism? We're gonna show you extremism in a moment. Just hang on. I got a couple of videos to play from the Black Lives Matter Antifa crowd if we want to talk about extremism.
That threatens the very foundations of our republic.
What?
Now, I want to be very clear up front.
I think they have one of those people like late night TV who tell the crowd when to applaud.
Not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology.
So this is the first key part of the speech you have to pay attention to. This is the first key part of the speech you have to pay attention to. Because what he's showing here is an alliance between establishment Democrats and establishment Republicans. Establishment Republicans hate MAGA. They hate Donald Trump. Many of them are being removed from their seats in the primaries and in the midterms coming up. Well, in the primaries and in the midterms coming up, we'll see who's actually going to win some House seats. But in the primaries, we've seen a lot of establishment Republicans lose their seats, and they're angry. One of them happens to be Liz Cheney. I know her dad, Dick, is upset. So that's the first thing we have to pay attention to in this speech, is that there is a backdoor alliance between establishment Democrats and establishment Republicans, and there's not much difference between them.
I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans.
And they said it right there. Mainstream Republicans. Mainstream Republicans. The mainstream Republicans are threatened by the MAGA crowd because the MAGA crowd is not going to let them keep pushing their GOP establishment agenda, which leads to more wars and bigger government. Conservatives are sick and tired of the establishment GOP. So when you see Joe Biden get on stage and he's defending mainstream Republicans, you should be alarmed. I see the super chats coming in. We'll get to them in the end of the presentation. I appreciate you.
But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
He literally just said that MAGA and Donald Trump are intimidating Republicans, like the Republicans today are victims. Where do we know this tactic from? Oh, yeah, the Democrats pull that victim narrative all the time to try to pull sympathy, et cetera, et cetera. This is going to backfire, by the way. This is absolutely going to backfire.
And that is a threat to this country.
What? It's not a threat to our country. It's the best thing for our country.
These are hard things. But I'm an American president, not a president of red America or blue America, but of all America. And I believe it's my duty to level with you, to tell the truth, no matter how difficult, no matter how painful. And here, in my view, is what is true. MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution.
We got to stop right there. We got to stop right there. We got to stop right there. What'd he just say?
But of all America. And I believe it's my duty to level with you, to tell the truth, no matter how difficult, no matter how painful. And here, in my view, is what is true. MAGA Republicans.
I just wanted it on the screen so we could all see these words for ourselves. MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They're literally constitutionalists. They're literally constitutionalists. This is called gaslighting. This is called gaslighting. He's literally gaslighting the MAGA Republicans right now. He's gaslighting Americans. He's gaslighting Democrats. He's gaslighting everybody with this statement. You know who doesn't respect the Constitution? The people that are pushing Roe v. Wade, that are trying to act like abortion is somewhere in the Constitution. It's not in the Constitution. Then you got people like Clarence Thomas, who made the right decision in regard to Roe v. Wade. I believe it was Jackson versus New York or whatever the case was. He made the right decision following the Constitution. And they digitally beheaded the guy. Remember, I said it. This is digital Bolshevism. It's going to come through intimidation, declaring the opposite side as some sort of threat. This is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. MAGA Republicans do not. They're the only ones talking about the Constitution. They're the only ones upholding the Constitution. Let's continue. This is just pure blasphemy.
Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people. They refuse to accept the results of a free election. And they're working right now, as I speak, in state after state, to give power to decide elections in America to partisans and cronies, empowering election deniers to undermine democracy itself.
We're going to come back to the election deniers in just a moment. Hey, hold on. Hold on. We're going to come back to that.
MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards.
Okay. He said he wants to take this country backwards. And you know what? I agree. That's exactly what we need to do. We need to take this country backwards. We need to take it back to tradition. The place we're going forward to is no man's land. We got the drag queen story time and all types of other debauchery and lechery that's happening, mostly pushed by liberals, socialists, communists, and the left. We need to go backwards. So I agree with that statement.
Backwards to an America where there is no right to choose, no right to privacy, no right to contraception, no right to marry who you love.
No right to privacy. No right to privacy. What's the other word he used? Isn't it the same people who sent the FBI after Trump and Mar-a-Lago? And then when the laptop story popped up, they told Zuckerberg, hey, don't push this on your platform. Don't let this get out on your platform. This the people that's supposed to be for freedom and liberty? I think not.
They promote authoritarian leaders and they fan the flames of political violence.
Authoritarian leaders. Again, classic rules for radicals by Saul Alinsky. Blame your enemy for that which you are guilty of. We get it.
That are a threat to our personal rights, to the pursuit of justice, to the rule of law.
These are the same people who want to take away our guns. These are the same people who want to censor us and censor our speech.
To the very soul of this country.
Soul? This is the last person that should be talking about soul. He's barely got a brain.
They look at the mob that stormed the United States Capitol on January 6th.
Of course, he was going to invoke January 6th and the so-called mob. I've done presentations on how Antifa was involved with this, how the FBI informants were involved with this, etc., etc. We're not going to go back through it, but we are going to talk about the insurrectionists that were coming from the left. Just hold on.
Brutally attacking law enforcement. Not.
God forbid you attack law enforcement. This is the same people who said police are bad. And now all of a sudden, you know, we have to protect the rule of law and we have to protect police officers. This is what you call hypocrisy.
As insurrectionists who placed a dagger at the throat of our democracy, but they look at them as
There's the word democracy again.
Patriots. And they see their MAGA failure to stop a peaceful transfer of power after the 2020 election as preparation for the 2022 and 2024 elections. They tried everything last time to nullify the votes of 81 million people.
81 million? Really?
This time, they're determined to succeed in thwarting the will of the people. That's why.
You can hear in the background hecklers. So these people want to act like, they're the majority and everybody believes in them and their administration. But you can hear the hecklers in back.
Respected conservatives, like Federal Circuit Court Judge.
So here he goes again. Respected conservatives. Now, before, conservatives were evil, but now establishment so-called conservatives, who are really liberals in sheep's clothing, woven liberals in sheep's clothing, are on the same side as Biden, and Biden's siding with them. He's protecting them. He's caping for them, defending them. And we're going to see why right here.
Michael Ludwig has called Trump and the extreme MAGA Republicans, quote, a clear and present danger to our democracy.
Here go that word democracy again.
But while the threat to American democracy is real, I want to say as clearly as we can, we are not powerless in the face of these threats. We are not bystanders in this ongoing attack on democracy.
Democracy.
There are far more Americans from every background and belief who reject the extreme MAGA ideology than those that accept it.
Many of which have been gaslit, coerced, and manipulated into believing that, but I don't think that's the majority.
And folks,
listen to how lazy that clap came in. That's how you know this is one of those claps that were directed. There's some director in the room telling people to clap, I believe.
it's within our power, it's in our hands, yours and mine, to stop the assault on American democracy.
Democracy.
I believe America is at an inflection point.
Yes.
One of those moments that determine the shape of everything that's to come after.
Yep.
And now, America must choose to move forward or to move backwards, to build a future or obsess about the past, to be a nation of hope and unity and optimism.
He don't want us to look at the past. If we look at the past, we're going to find a whole lot of crime bills with his signature on it.
Or a nation of fear.
We're going to find a whole lot of videos of him talking about black folks and how he doesn't want his kids integrating with him because we live in a jungle. We're just monkeys to Joe Biden. That's why he don't want us to look in the past.
Division and of darkness. MAGA Republicans have made their choice. They embrace anger. They thrive on chaos.
Oh, yeah? We're going to talk about anger and chaos in a moment. I got some videos, Mr. Biden. Don't worry, Emperor Biden. We got the proof. We got the footage.
They live not in the light of truth, but in the shadow of lies.
Oh, here he go. You know what? They do live in the shadow of lies because it is you casting the lies, and we are in the shadows of your lies, Emperor Biden.
But together we can choose a different path. We can choose a better path.
He's going to push all this stuff about unity and togetherness as his entire speech is about division.
Forward to the future. A future of possibility, a future to build and dream and hope. And we're on that path moving ahead.
You can't have dreams and hope with communism and socialism. It's just not possible. This is the very mechanisms that destroy freedom and hope. And they have a track record in the historical database that proves this.
I know this nation. I know you, the American people. I know your courage. I know your hearts. And I know our history. This is a nation that honors our Constitution. We do not reject it.
Done a horrible job of honoring the Constitution, I'd just like to say, especially when we talk about all the amendments to said Constitution.
It's a nation that believes in the rule of law. We do not repudiate it. This is a nation that respects free and fair elections. We honor the will of the people. We do not deny it. And this is a nation that rejects violence as a political tool. We do not encourage violence.
Oh, you guys don't encourage violence? Okay. Okay. Hold that thought. Hold that thought right there. since you want to bring up violence, since you say you don't encourage violence, I happen to have some footage here to the contrary. To the contrary, which one of these should I pull up first? Let me see. What is this one? This is let's pull up this one. Let's pull up this tweet. Let's put this on your desk, since we want to talk about violence and how these people didn't encourage violence. Here's a tweet that says, footage from DC on the day of Trump's inauguration. This happened all around the country for 4 years. Remember this when Joe Biden calls MAGA supporters terrorists tonight. Let's go ahead and look at this footage. This ain't an erection. This ain't an erection. This ain't an insurrection.
You all right, boss?
Police had to push back the protesters so firefighters could get to the flames.
Watch out! Hey,
Hold on a second. Wait. Maybe I misheard him. Maybe I just misheard him. What did he say? Let's go back. What did he say?
And this is a nation that rejects violence as a political tool. We do not encourage violence.
Okay, no doubt. Hold that thought.
Small fires had appeared all day. This upped the temperature, which of course was the point.
One demonstrator threw a flashbang grenade back at police. It exploded in an officer's face.
Plenty of tear gas. 6 officers reportedly injured.
They will destroy your limo. You need to leave now.
AK-47, put the cops in piggy heaven.
Respect the rule of law, right? That's what they said. Respect the rule of law, right? Hold on. There's more people. There's absolutely more. Hold on. I got more. You know, we have wonderful people who follow me. You know, I requested some videos and the people delivered. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's pull up another video here. You know, seeing is believing. People say this stuff didn't happen. They want to act like this stuff didn't happen. Let's see.
Protests are continuing across the country.
Let's get one thing straight. Bringing Molotov cocktails to public gatherings is not a peaceful protest.
Democrats invited it.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet, you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
Democrats encouraged it.
When they go low, we kick. That's what this new Democratic Party is about.
Get up in the face of some Congress people.
You have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
It's Molotov cocktails and loaded rifle magazines and arson and assault and laser beams blinding police officers.
Crowd turned on us. It was clear it was organized, and then a mob descended on us.
It's no wonder people are taken to the streets, and I support them.
They're literally walking up and down the street, breaking.
And I support them, is what Vice President Kamala Harris said.
Every window they see.
Violent anarchists have broken windows, destroyed fencing, graffitied buildings.
The vast majority of the protests have been peaceful.
Exercising their right to peacefully protest.
Let's get one thing straight. The riots are not peaceful protests.
Police were ambushed.
A couple of bricks. There were a number of officers hurt.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
An elderly couple targeted because of their political views.
Democrats bailed them out.
No questions about who the Minnesota Freedom Fund is bailing out.
Joe Biden's own staff contributed to the Minnesota Freedom Fund. That fund offered bail to serial rapists, murderers, and other violent criminals who are now back on the street. Kamala Harris encouraged her followers to contribute to the Minnesota Freedom Fund.
And if Democrats take the Senate, they'll answer to the mob.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day, and they should not.
These mass protesters are destroying anything they see.
The violence and the vandalism are not peaceful protests.
Say no to the mob.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't.
Hold on. I got more. Let's just narrow in on the rhetoric. Let's narrow in on the rhetoric of the Democrats. Let's see. Where is the video? Oh, here it is. Thank you to Cadillac, who's got another video here. Let's talk. He said they don't encourage violence. That's what Emperor Biden said, right? Okay. What is this?
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look, as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh yeah, Emperor Biden? Caught in 4K. Y'all are caught in 4K. But here you gonna come up here and you gonna gaslight the public into believing your rhetoric that you guys do not encourage violence. Since when? Since you're now in power? Huh? Is that since when? I'm going to get to the super chats. I appreciate them. I see you guys sending them in, and I appreciate you. We're going to read all of them. I'm not leaving until we read every last one of them, and I respond to every last one of them thoughtfully. Thank you. Are you serious? Are you serious right now? Like, we don't got the footage. I had to document it. Let's continue. Let's see what else, because we got more videos to play.
We are still an America that believes in honesty and decency.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, Lord have mercy. Honesty and decency. That's not what that diary say.
And respect for others. Patriotism, liberty, justice for all, hope, possibilities. We are still, at our core, a democracy.
Democracy. I want you guys to pay attention to the word democracy, especially when it comes to the end of the speech. How many times does he have to say democracy? This is how you know democracy is bad, because they have to say it over and over and over again, right? This is a common auto-suggestion tactic where you say something, you repeat it over and over again until it becomes truth. It's sort of like that horrible song that plays on the radio for the first time, but after you hear it 20 times, you just start bobbing along to it. That's what he's doing with the word democracy. And that's what a lot of these politicians do. They keep saying democracy, democracy, democracy as if it's a good thing. And they keep repeating it, and it's terrible.
And yet, history tells us that blind loyalty to a single leader and a willingness to engage in political violence is fatal to democracy.
Democracy again. Keep counting, Steph Colonel. Keep count. That was another one.
For a long time, we've told ourselves that American democracy is guaranteed.
Democracy.
But it's not. We have to defend it, protect it, stand up for it.
No, we don't.
Each and every one of us. That's why tonight I'm asking our nation to come together, unite behind the single purpose of defending our democracy regardless of your ideology.
Director tells them to applause.
We're all called by duty and conscience to confront extremists who put their own pursuit of power above all else. Democrats, independents, mainstream Republicans.
Mainstream Republicans.
We must be stronger, more determined, and more committed to saving American democracy.
Democracy.
Than MAGA Republicans are to destroying American democracy.
Democracy.
We, the people, will not let anyone or anything tear us apart. Today, there are dangers around us we cannot allow to prevail. We hear, you've heard it, more and more talk about violence.
Violence? Y'all seen the clips.
As an acceptable political tool in this country. It's not. It can never be an acceptable tool. So I want to say this plain and simple. There is no place for political violence in America, period. None, ever.
As long as you're in power, right? Because when Trump's in power, it's just okay.
We saw law enforcement brutally attacked on January the 6th.
We saw law enforcement brutally attacked when Trump won his election. And throughout his entire
election officials, poll workers,
tenure as president,
volunteers of both parties subject to intimidation and death threats. And can you believe it? FBI agents just doing their job as directed, facing threats to their own lives from their own fellow citizens. On top of that, there are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
Again, who is guilty of this? I haven't seen anybody call for mass rioting in the streets other than the Democrats. I haven't seen it come from Republicans. I haven't seen it come from mainstream Republicans, MAGA Republicans, Trump. I haven't seen any of that. I've seen the opposite. And the evidence shows you guys, the Democrats, the commies, you guys call for violence, as you tend to do with your Leninist, Trotskyite, Marxist, Stalinist agendas.
This is inflammatory. It's dangerous. It's against the rule of law. And we, the people, must say, this is not who we are.
Cue the fake applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, we can't be pro-insurrectionist and pro-American. They're incompatible.
That's not true.
We can't allow violence to be normalized in this country. It's wrong. We each have to reject political violence with all the moral clarity and conviction this nation can muster. Now, we can't let the integrity of our elections be undermined, for that is a path to chaos. Look, I know politics can be fierce and mean and nasty in America. I get it. I believe in the give and take of politics, in disagreement and debate and dissent. We're a big, complicated country. But democracy endures only if we, the people, respect the guardrails of the republic. Only if we, the people, accept the results of free and fair elections.
Wait, what? Accept free and fair elections? Is that what he said?
Only if we, the people, see politics not as total war, but mediation of our differences. Democracy cannot survive.
Democracy.
When one side believes there are only two outcomes to an election. Either they win or they were cheated. And that's where the MAGA Republicans are today.
I want you to hold that thought. Matter of fact, let's rewind it to make sure we heard you correctly, Emperor Biden.
The guardrails of the republic. Only if we, the people, accept the results of free and fair elections. Only if we, the people, see politics not as total war, but mediation of our differences. Democracy cannot survive when one side believes there are only two outcomes to an election. Either they win or they were cheated.
All right, hold on to that thought right there, Emperor Biden. We have another video to play here. I want you to hold that thought, sir. I want you to hold that thought. You say that is the MAGA Republicans who don't believe in a free and clear election, that believe they were cheated, and that they should not do that. Well, you know what? We got you caught in 4K, sir. Once again, caught in 4K. We got 10 minutes of footage, and we're going to play all of it.
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
Uh-oh.
How do you win with Russian interference?
That's a real
what I'm
thing.
scared about in 2020.
But rightly.
Because I think he's an illegitimate president that didn't really win. So how do you fight against that in 2020?
You are absolutely right.
He's an illegitimate president in my mind.
Would you be my vice presidential candidate? Folks, look, I absolutely agree.
Trump didn't actually
you agree? That's not what you just said, Biden.
win the election in 2016. He lost the election, and he was put in office because the Russians interfered.
Trump knows
More
he's
Russians.
a legitimate president.
The president-elect, although legally elected, is not legitimate.
I don't see this president-elect as a legitimate president.
You said you believe that Russia's interference altered the outcome of the election.
I do. We have a president who, if in fact it is proven, has been assisted by the Russians and may in fact not be a legitimate president.
The one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
I have an objection.
I object to the 15 votes from the state of North Carolina.
I object because people are horrified.
He's an illegitimate president.
Do you believe Trump is a legitimate president?
What I believe is that there's no question that the outcome of this election was affected by the Russian interference.
There absolutely is a cloud of illegitimacy.
So that legitimacy is in question, yes. So that was a very tainted election, and in that sense, it's illegitimate.
Why do you think the president is going to such great lengths to essentially prove that he beat you?
Because he knows he didn't. He knows he's an illegitimate president.
Stolen emails, stolen drone, stolen election. Welcome to the world of unprecedented Trump.
So do you believe President Trump is an illegitimate president?
Based on what I just said, which I can't retract.
The Russian attempt to have the election, and frankly, the FBI is weighing in on the election, I think makes his election illegitimate.
There was a widespread understanding that this election was not on the level. We still don't know what really happened, Isaac. I mean, there's just a lot that I think will be revealed, history will discover, but you don't win by 3 million votes and have all this other shenanigan stuff going on and not come away with an idea like, whoa, something's not right here.
The outcome of the election was affected by their interference, and now we need to know.
Let's keep in mind that Hillary won the popular vote. Hillary won the popular votes. I don't know how they can claim it's illegitimate. I don't know how Russians can hack the minds of the electors of each state.
To what degree, if
yeah, here we are.
any, the Trump campaign was actually in collusion with with Russia.
He knows he's an illegitimate president. So of course he's obsessed with me. And I believe that it's a guilty conscience.
We actually won the last presidential election, folks. They stole the last presidential election.
And Al Gore won that election. I think he won it anyway.
Actually, I think I carried Florida.
Bush versus Gore. A court took away a presidency.
If all the votes were counted in Florida,
that Al Gore would be president today and George Bush would be back in office.
I come from Florida, where you and others participated in what I call the United States coup d'etat.
There's no doubt in my mind that Al Gore was elected president.
I rise to object to the fraudulent 25 Florida electoral votes.
I must object because of the overwhelming evidence of official misconduct, deliberate fraud, and an attempt to suppress voter turnout.
It is signed by myself on behalf of my diverse constituents and the millions of Americans who have been disenfranchised by Florida's inaccurate vote count.
The Supreme Court, not the people of the United States, decided this election.
Speaking to a Democratic group in Chicago Tuesday, he made it clear he thinks Al Gore was the winner.
By the time it was over,
we don't got to play all 10 minutes of this. I'm not going to put we all know what went down or what went up. But yet Biden wants to say that it's just the MAGA Republicans who don't believe in free and fair elections. They want us to believe that we should just accept the elections and ignore the fact that they never accepted the elections when they lost in the previous race when Trump became president, our beloved MAGA leader. Shout out to all my ultra MAGA people out there. I'm waiting for Trump to officially announce. Then we're going to release the official MAGA Hotep Nation hat. I can't wait for that. It's going to be amazing. I'll be copying one as soon as we create it. And ultra MAGA, ultra dark MAGA is going to be rising. Let's go back to Biden and his terrible speech.
and that's where the MAGA Republicans are today. They don't understand what every patriotic American knows. You can't love your country only when you win. It's fundamental.
Pot calling the tea kettle.
American democracy only works only if we choose to respect the rule of law and the institutions that were set up in this chamber behind me. Only if we respect our legitimate political differences. I will not stand by and watch. I will not, the will of the American people, be overturned by wild conspiracy theories and baseless evidence-free claims of fraud.
Meanwhile, these people made those same claims. Were they conspiracy theorists then when they said Russia was the reason why the elections were stolen?
I will not stand by and watch elections in this country stolen by people who simply refuse to accept that they lost.
Y'all couldn't accept that y'all lost.
I will not stand by and watch the most fundamental freedom in this country, the freedom to vote, and have your vote counted and be taken from you and the American people. Look, as your president, I will defend our democracy with every fiber of my being, and I'm asking every American to join me. Throughout our history, America's often made the greatest progress coming out of some of our darkest moments, like you're hearing to that bullhorn.
Yeah, you hear the heckler. You hear the heckler.
I believe we can and must do that again. And we are. MAGA Republicans look at America and see carnage and darkness and despair. They spread fear and lies. Lies told for profit and power. But I see a different America. An America with an unlimited future. An America that's about to take off. I hope you see it as well. Just look around. I believe we could lift America from the depths of COVID. So we passed the largest economic recovery package since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And today, America's economy is faster, stronger than any other advanced nation in the world.
Well, yeah, because every other nation is crippled by inflation as well. You guys shut down the economies worldwide. We were winning. We were ahead of the other countries before. So obviously, if we're all crippled the same way, we're still going to be ahead. This is just foundationless rhetoric.
We have more to go. I believe we can build a better America, So we passed the biggest infrastructure investment since President Dwight D. Eisenhower. And we've now embarked on a decade of rebuilding the nation's roads, bridges, highways, ports, water systems, high-speed internet, railroads. I believe we could make America safer, so we passed the most significant gun safety law since President Clinton. I believe we could go from being the highest cost of prescriptions in the world to making prescription drugs and healthcare more affordable. So we passed the most significant healthcare reform since President Obama signed the Affordable Care Act.
He's bragging about a whole bunch of stuff he shouldn't be bragging about.
And I believe we could create a clean energy future and save the planet. So we passed the most important climate initiative ever, ever, ever.
Ever, ever, ever. Ever, ever, ever. So you have to be careful when people make claims and they don't back up these claims. You know, the funny thing is these people attack Bitcoin and say Bitcoin sucks all the energy out of our grid, et cetera, et cetera. And meanwhile, these people want to push electric vehicles. Well, how do you think these electric vehicles are going to be charged? Aren't they going to need power from the electric grid?
The cynics and the critics tell us nothing can get done, but they're wrong. There is not a single thing America cannot do, not a single thing beyond our capacity if we do it together.
No, if you get out of our way with your socialist and communist policies.
It's never easy, but we're proving in America, no matter how long the road, progress does come. Look, I know the last few years have been tough, but today, COVID no longer controls our lives. More Americans are working than ever. Businesses are growing, our schools are open. Millions of Americans have been lifted out of poverty. Millions of veterans once exposed to toxic burn pits will now get what they deserve for their families and their compensation. American manufacturers come alive across the heartland, and the future will be made in America.
Across the heartland. You know, this is the type of stuff that this is not the type of rhetoric that comes off the top of your dome when you start throwing words around like heartland. You know, this is a prepared speech, a prepared speech that seeks to weigh in on somebody's subconscious mind. And they use these different words like liberty, justice, heartland, democracy to make this speech seem like it has more weight than it really does. But there's nothing here in this speech.
No matter what the white supremacists and the extremists say.
White supremacists. You know, if I had to draw up what a white supremacist looked like, it would look exactly like Joe Biden. Exactly. I mean, let's go ahead and let's pull up this classic piece of information here. And put it on your screen. Many of you have seen this before. But here we have your homeboy with Mr. Bird here. This is Mr. Bird right here, right? You see him? He's holding his hand. Now we know that Bird used to be KKK. And here he is holding the hands of somebody who used to be KKK. And the fact checkers would be like, Hotep Jesus, he's not KKK at the moment that he held his hand. He left the KKK before he held Joe Biden's hand. Or some shit that they put on my Instagram post. But yet he wants to talk about white supremacists. Meanwhile, he's holding hands with one. Fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. And people fall for this shit too.
I made a bet on you, the American people, and that bet is paying off, proving that from darkness, the darkness of Charlottesville, of COVID, of gun violence, of insurrection, we can see the light. Light is now visible. Light that will guide us forward, not only in words, but in actions. Actions for you, for your children, for your grandchildren, for America. Even in this moment, with all the challenges we face, I give you my word as a Biden, I've never been more optimistic about America's future. Not because of me, but because of who you are. We're going to end cancer as we know it. Mark my words. We're going to create millions of new jobs in a clean energy economy. We're going to think big. We're going to make the 21st century another American century because the world needs us to.
Empty promises,
That's where we
empty
need to
rhetoric.
focus our energy. Not in the past, not on divisive culture wars, not on the politics of grievance, but on a future we can build together. The MAGA Republicans believe that for them to succeed, everyone else has to fail.
Again, this is another attempt to divide the Republican Party. So he wants to talk about unity and other stuff, but this is definitely an attempt to divide the Republican Party, as he calls some mainstream Republicans and the other ones the MAGA Republicans. And it's just weird because how do you even define somebody who's a MAGA Republican? You know, I would say a person who is a MAGA Republican probably has more common sense than somebody who's voted for a Democrat.
They believe America,
So I would call them common sense Republicans.
not like I believe about America. I believe America is big enough for all of us to succeed. And that is the nation we're building, a nation where no one is left behind. I ran for president because I believe we're in a battle for the soul of this nation. I still believe that to be true.
Pretty sure Obama wrote this speech.
I believe the soul is the breath, the life, and the essence of who we are. The soul is what makes us us. The soul of America is defined by the sacred proposition that all are created equal in the image of God.
That Adderall gonna tear his brain apart. I think the Adderall right now is only getting him about 20 to 30 minutes of good brain power. But the more you do these methamphetamines, the more they destroy your brain. So it's just like the Limitless pill, right? Like after a while, it just like destroys your brain. They got to get him off that stuff. He's definitely not going to be able to run in 2024. He won't last through 2 hours of debate.
All are entitled.
They might even just change the rules if they try to run him again and say, hey, the debate can only be 30 minutes because that's how long his Adderall works.
Be treated with decency, dignity, and respect. That all deserve justice and a shot at lives of prosperity and consequence. And that democracy must be defended. For democracy makes all these things possible.
3 times in a row he said it.
Folks.
3. Remember I told you towards the end of the speech.
Democracy begins
and will be
preserved in we the people's habits of the heart, in our character, optimism that is tested yet endures, courage that digs deep when we need it, empathy that fuels democracy, the willingness to see each other not as enemies but as fellow Americans. Look, our democracy is perfect. It always has been. Notwithstanding those folks you hear on the other side there.
Okay, right here is all him. Or maybe the earpiece, I'm not sure. But he's off script right now.
They're entitled to be outrageous. This is a democracy.
Democracy. You see how you got to come back to that? You got to come back to that. When it's not scripted, they have like catchphrases that they just resort to.
But history and common sense.
Now, they know he's off script. And notice the applause now is larger than the one before. Directed. This is a directed applause because they're trying to help Biden out as he winds down his time in front of the mic.
Good manners is nothing they've ever suffered from. But history and common sense tell us that opportunity, liberty, and justice for all are most likely to come to pass in a democracy.
Democracy.
We have never fully realized the aspirations of our founding, but every generation has opened those doors a little bit wider to include more people who have been excluded before. My fellow Americans, America is an idea.
America is an idea. Yeah, like Antifa. What?
The most powerful idea in
America is a nation. It is a country, and it is a corporation. It is not an idea. We're way past the idea stage.
The history of the world, and it beats in the hearts of the people of this country. It beats in all our hearts. It unites America. It is the American creed, the idea that America guarantees that everyone be treated with dignity. It gives hate no safe harbor. It installs in everyone the belief that no matter where you start in life, there's nothing you can't achieve. That's who we are. That's what we stand for.
That sounds like pull yourself up by the bootstraps rhetoric, but I digress.
That's what we believe. And that's precisely what we're doing. Opening doors, creating possibilities, focusing on the future. And we're only just beginning. Our task is to make our nation free and fair, just and strong, noble and whole. And this work is the work of democracy, the work of this generation. It is the work of our time, for all time. We can't afford to leave anyone on the sidelines. We need everyone to do their part. So speak up, speak out, get engaged, vote, vote, vote. And if we do our duty, that's
a lot what this speech is about. They're trying, this is their, one of their attempts to, we're a month away from midterms. So this is, I would say sparking off their run up to the midterms. This is the ignition, the igniting of the Democrats to go out and vote.
In 2022 and beyond, then ages still to come will say, we, all of us here, we kept the faith. We preserved democracy.
Democracy.
We heeded our worst. We heeded not our worst instincts, but our better angels. We proved that for all
the Adderall's wearing off now. You can hear it now.
its imperfections, America is still the beacon to the world, an ideal to be realized, a promise to be kept. There's nothing more important, nothing more sacred, nothing more American. That's our soul.
Soul.
That's who we truly are. And that's who we must always be. I have no doubt, none, that this is who we will be, and that we'll come together as a nation that will secure our democracy.
Democracy.
That for the next 200 years, we'll have what we had the past 200 years, the greatest nation on the face of the earth. We just need to remember who we are. We are the United States of America, the United States of America. And may God protect our nation, and may God protect all those who stand watch over our democracy. God bless you all.
Right before God bless you all, he says democracy.
Democracy.
Then he says it again. Listen right here.
God protect all those who stand watch over our democracy. God bless you all. Democracy. Thank you.
Democracy is the last word of the speech. Why does he say democracy so many times? Steph Colonel, what's your count? What's the count you got for democracy? Because I'm going to go ahead and use some technology here to see how many times he uses the word democracy. Let's go ahead and let's copy that. And we're going to count how many times he uses the term democracy. Give me a second. I'm sorry. Let's create this. Let's put that there. Let's hit that. And let's type in democracy. What do you got? What's your count, Steph Colonel? I have the official count here from the transcript. And let's see what you got. What do you got? Steph, you got 29. The computer says 31. 31 instances of democracy. I'm going to bring up this tweet here from Charlie Kirk, which has a running count of certain words of Biden's speech. We're going to take a look at that. Give me a second. Put this up on the screen. And you'll see this tweet. All right, so Charlie Kirk, here he is. So this tweet right here, let me make sure you guys can see that well. Okay, So Charlie Kirk says, mentions in Biden's speech: China 0, crime 0, inflation 0, fentanyl 0, the border 0, Charlottesville 1, January 6 2, insurrection 3, Donald Trump 3, extremism 7, violence 10, MAGA 13, Republicans 16. And then he ends this with priorities. The one word he missed was democracy, and we have to add that to the list now. Democracy mentioned 31 times. Now ask yourself, why does someone repeat the word democracy 31 times in a single 20-minute odd speech? It's because they want to brainwash people. They want to condition people to believe that democracy is good. They don't even want you to have an idea of what democracy means. They don't even want to convolute it with the idea of freedom. They dare not even define it, because if they defined it, they'd be in trouble. All they need to do is impress upon the minds of people that democracy is good. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a clip from my previous presentation on this democracy. Democracy can be taken over by any, and show you exactly how evil this term democracy is. And just a certain part of it. Just one part of the video. I'm not going to play the whole thing. Just this part right here. Some of you were here for that presentation. Some of you weren't. But let's go ahead and give you that presentation so you'll see me twice on the screen here. Let's see. And what do we have here from the primary source? They're talking about this again, this word democracy, to destroy all the nobles and priests in Europe. Now, don't forget, orthodoxy was very popular in Russia. Orthodox Church, the Orthodox Christianity was the main religion in the Rus. Before it became Russia, right? Or called it Russia. So let's continue. It says here, democracy is chargeable with all the blood that has been spilled for 5 and 20 years. Let me say that again. Democracy is chargeable with all the blood that has been spilled. I got to do it again. I messed it up. Democracy is chargeable with all the blood that has been spilled for 5 and 20 years. Napoleon. I'm going to stop right there. This is, I believe, Jefferson talking about the blood spilling of democracy, the bloodshed that comes with democracy. I want you to go and look at the amount of people that perished after the Kaiser of Germany passed or was forced to abdicate. I want you to look at the amount of blood that was spilt in nations like China after Mao. I want you to look at the amount of blood that was spilled and the people that died under Stalin's Russia, the people that died in, you want to talk about Ukraine, the Holodomor under Stalin, and then tell me that democracy, tell me that a republic, tell me that socialism or communism works, when the proof is in the pudding, when the proof is in the history books that it does not work. So again, I come back and I ask you, why would he mention the word democracy 31 times in a single speech, in a single short speech, 31 times? Why? Why do politicians continue to repeat this? I believe it's absolutely evil. When we have the forefathers specifically telling you that this stuff spills blood. It's no good for a nation. Democracy is no good for a nation. Democracy is two wolves and a sheep deciding what's for lunch. That's what democracy is. When we talk about digital Bolshevism, I'd say it's digital Bolshevism that we're dealing with big tech online, etc., etc. Bolshevik translates to majority in Russian. And really, that was just the majority of people in the socialist movement, socialist revolution, because the majority of people did not support a takeover of the Tsar. They loved the Tsar. They loved the family. They did not want them to be murdered. They sent them out to Siberia and quietly murdered them because of their control over media. The populace was not aware of it for at least a few years. This is the dangers of communism and socialism. But again, I ask you, why 31 times does he use the word democracy? Because he wants to gaslight people. He wants people to believe that democracy is good. And it's also a way to add fluff to a speech and give it pseudo weight, give it pseudo gravity. If you just mention the word democracy, people will feel like you're actually saying something when you're really not saying anything at all. That's one of the tricks that they're pulling here. One of the great tricks that they're pulling here. Let me go ahead and read the super chats. I appreciate all my super chatters. We're going to go ahead and work through these little by little. All right, where are we? How much longer before the Brandon regime opens up the camps and gets the trains rolling? Yes. Thank you, 100 MX from Manufacturing Reality. Thank you. Yes, Bronstein. If anybody knows Bronstein and his train of violence. Anybody not familiar with Bronstein? I'm talking about Trotsky. His real name is Bronstein, which he changed after he too was sent to Siberia to serve out time for being a socialist revolutionist. Hef, thank you. He said he called my 9-year-old autistic nephew a danger. My nephew doesn't understand politics. He just knows his closest uncle voted for him, and my nephew likes Trump because of it. Shout out to your nephew and the wonderful talents that autism brings to him. We appreciate you and we love you. Montoya, thank you. She said, you are appreciated, HJ. Thank you, Montoya. You are appreciated. Thank you for supporting the channel. Francisco Sanchez, thank you. He says, thanks for the content. This man read a speech full of rhetoric and empty platitudes. Twitter is wild with the Biden stance today. That's exactly what it was. Rhetoric and empty platitudes. You nailed it right there. Reaction PR, thank you. He said he used clear and present danger. Those are words of action. That means assets have been deployed and in play. By targeting MAGA, he lost the high ground. Indeed, these are definitely words of war, but we have to understand that the word campaign actually has actually, let's see if we can pull this up in a dictionary and show you what campaign means. Let's see. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put this up on your screen now. This is Collins Dictionary for the term campaign. And let me just fix it a little bit here so you can see it clearer. All right, perfect. A campaign is a planned set of activities that people carry out over a period of time in order to achieve something such as social or political change. And here, number 2, it says, in a war, a campaign is a series of planned movements carried out by armed forces. So campaign is going to be used in politics, which is a form of war, and or warfare or war strategy. But when you use the word campaign here, it often refers to war. So good on you for understanding that. Reaction PR. Let's go back. Cody Jones with the $50 super chat. It's big boy bucks right there. Appreciate you. Biden gave the speech of a dictator in the style of a dictator and the visual of a dictator, using the words of a dictator. Indeed, in fact, since you brought that up, let's go ahead and put that back on the screen, and let's just look at this, the how they decorated his background. This red. You know what this red reminds me of? I'm going to show you one thing, but firstly, I'm going to show you what it reminds me of in my mind. Then I'm going to show you another visual that it reminds me of in just a moment. But this red, it just reminds me of Red Russia, Soviet Russia, socialism and communism. That's what it reminds me of. I'm going to show you something else that it reminds me of as well. I don't know if anyone else caught this, but I'm going to put this on your screen in a second. Let me just see if I can find the image. Okay, that's a good one, but I want to find a better one here. Let me use Google Images. Okay. Okay. We're getting. Here we go. Here's a good image that I want to show you guys. That one's too small. Okay, here's one. Let's put this on your screen. And I want everyone to see this. This is what it reminds me of. Anybody knows this image? This is from the film adaptation of 1984, the book by George Orwell, Ingsoc. I forget what Ingsoc stands for. I want to say English socialism. I can't remember. It's been a couple of years since I've read 1984, but this is the visual I got from that Biden speech and that declaration, especially when you have the two soldiers standing behind him. If I can find that part. Is it more towards the beginning when he had the two guys in his background? Yeah, here it is. You see it there. Gives me that very Ingsoc feel. Anyway, let's go back to the super chats. My astute subscribers. Canon Hotep. What up, Canon? Make sure you subscribe to Canon Hotep. Handles all things two-way and beyond on YouTube. His profile is here on this channel. Go subscribe to his channel. He said, there's going to come a time when the people are told the biggest threats to the United States are patriots, the men and women willing to fight for the Constitution. Bars. Bars. Cody Jones with another $50 super chat. Thank you, bro. He says, we're witnessing the destruction of every institution in the land and nobody knows how to stop it. Man, that's heavy right there. That's heavy right there. You know what's going to take to stop it? People got to stop being scared. That's what it's going to take. People, people are afraid of getting canceled, afraid of losing jobs. No, speak up. Say something. Say something. There's more people at your job. There's more people at your school that think like you than you might imagine. And if you guys unite and coalesce, we can stop the beast. It's the silent majority that's really going to matter. Andrew Starr, our entire politics are based on Barnum's statements. Indeed. Well put, sir. Jonah Ryan, Ho Biden has literally said that no amendment is absolute. Joe respects the Constitution as much as he respected the privacy of Ashley's shower. Oh my God. Oh, y'all coming with the haymakers. Just a Chick said projection and hypocrisy at its highest. Yes, indeed. Jonah Ryan, Biden, no amendments absolute. This man, the same thing, right? There you go. Cody Jones, thank you. He said the United States is not a democracy. And it wasn't meant to be one republic. Indeed. Cody Jones knows what he's talking about. Big Poppy said, should have had your MAGA hat on for this presentation. Plenty of shines in those protesting videos. The MAGA hat, we're going to have the MAGA hat. I'll be wearing that. I'll be wearing the official Hotep Nation red hat in the future on this channel. I can't wait for that. I'm just waiting for Trump to officially announce it, and then that stuff will be unleashed. We have plenty of content. This won't be the last time I have content about MAGA. This isn't a missed opportunity. We got a lot of time between now and the entire 2024 to get our MAGA grift on. Trust and believe. The MAGA hat is coming. Cody Jones said something has changed and I don't know how it can be fixed. We are at the point of no return of no return. Yes, indeed. In fact, Biden said it. He knows this is an inflection point in our country. This is probably one of the most important elections coming up of our time. 8K HD evidence. Yeah, exactly. In the early 1770s, Cody Jones says, more and more colonists became convinced that Parliament intended to take away their freedom. In fact, the Americans saw a pattern of increasing oppression and corruption happening. Rest history. Oh, yeah. Again, a gentleman by the name of Brian Sharp wrote this book called The Patriot Report, Unmasking the Conspiracy of Money and War. And you can see what the colonists thought about early America and Parliament and how Parliament really affected us. Jonah Ryan said, White House transcript, Democracy 17, Republic 1. Indeed. Holly Moonstar How the hell are you supposed to have this futuristic world if you don't have the economic strength to build this world? Bars. J.A. said, thank you for this, HJ, Hotep and Bill. Stay wise, everyone. Keep your mind strong. Inside of the ages, we know that violence was fuzz instigated. Yes, we all know people were... I'm going to have to figure out what that halo is around me and why that happens. I think it's when I move and my camera's like doing autofocus. I don't know. I have a new camera, so we're going to work through it. But I've done presentations on Jan 6 and, you know, how informants were involved and BLM was involved and how, you know, Mr. Sheffield was on the front line. Mr. Sheffield was right there. Same guy at BLM and Antifa rallies. Mr. Sheffield was right there at that door. We all saw the video footage. He was right there at that door when the police opened the door to the Capitol and let people in. Sheffield was he was number one. He was right at the front. He was leading the pack. Antifa, BLM, rally attender was leading the pack at Jan 6. This is facts. This is facts, things you can't deny. And you know, the thing is about establishment Republicans, like nobody brought that up during the Jan 6 hearings. Like nobody brought that up. And I'm just like, all right, so y'all bought and paid for, and y'all don't really want the truth to get out there. And maybe because your job depends on it. Leandro Johan, thank you. He said leadership on the left sounded exactly like leadership on the right in the terms of hating the opposition and all they stand for. Seems like a good setup for national divorce. Indeed. Sonny Johnson talks about that. She goes, you know, if you show me somebody who's against something, then they stand for nothing. And she said that was the one thing that she enjoyed about Hotep. She's like, we had our 10 Hotep commandments. He's like, this isn't just a group of individuals who are just against the left. No, they actually have principles that they stand for. And that's true. The left doesn't have any principles. Like, what do they actually stand for? They're going to say, oh, democracy. And we talk about how evil democracy is. But they actually don't stand for anything. They're against everything. Everything that represents freedom, everything that represents autonomy, that represents sovereignty. They're, again, they're just modern day Bolsheviks. That's all this stuff is. Anyway, shout out to my sponsor, Syscoin. I appreciate you. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to our super chatters who supported the channel today. We appreciate you. I will be back soon with more wonderful presentations on this channel. If this is your first time, subscribe. I am
that Hotep Jesus dude.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, YouTube plays this little game where they don't suggest my videos, somebody said. So go to your subscription tab to see you know, all the videos from the people that you subscribe to. Freak Mac, he said, why did that speech sound like a psyop to me? The perfect words to inflame and incite the right into action, giving the admin exactly what they want. Astute observation there, Mr. Freak Mac. I didn't even peep that. That's interesting. That's a good way to try to gaslight people. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Again, make sure you subscribe. I am
that Hotep Jesus dude.
Hotep and Bill.